talk about don't clean up your deadlift and or vice versa. Don't deadlift up your clean. You want to keep it messy and keep doing it wrong. That's the ultimate goal, I think, of CrossFit is not do things right. Not what I'm saying, actually. What I really mean is they are different. Your deadlift setup and movement is different than the way you clean. And you want to keep it messy in your brain because it can be a little confusing, but you want it that way. They are different movements. And so what we're going to run through today is how to not clean up your deadlift or deadlift up your clean. Keep them separate movements and have the right angles. You want to use physics to your advantage. The goal with a deadlift is to take it from the ground to the hip, and then the other one is from ground to shoulder. You want to get the clean weight from the ground all the way up to your shoulder. So there's differences in what's happening, the way you're generating force on the bar, and the bar path is going to be different as well, and what your body's doing around that. So what we're going to do is kind of run through. I want to show you a couple things. We'll go through pictures, go through movements, and explain what the difference is between the two and why you want to keep it messy in your brain. Just don't be confused. Just know what you are doing. You want to walk into the day, what am I doing, and how am I going to do this properly and most effectively. So let's look at the deadlift first. The deadlift is going to have you a little bit more over the bar with your shoulder. It's out in front of it, your hip is high, and you're creating this triangle angle where I have my hip is above my knee and my shoulder is above my hip. And then when I stand up, I bring it to the knee. My back angle didn't change much, and then I open my hip. That's the end of the movement. Now, if I do that same setup on a clean, you'll see it's very hard to keep the bar path straight. If I try to just finish with my hip, it'd be like this. The bar swings out in front, and I don't want that. I want the bar on a clean to be moving straight up. So if I set up with a lower hip, I have the ability to land in this power stance. As I transition through the knee, I kind of shift here, and then I jump, and then the bar should be able to move straight up and catch under, and it look a little bit differently, more like this. So my shoulders will be behind the bar, my hip's going to be really low. So we're here, and then I come up, and then I catch. So we're here, and then I come up, and then I catch. Not straight bar path. We're just setting really low, shoulders back, I jump, and then I catch under the weights. What's happening is you have a deadlift here, the weight's on the ground. You want to set up where your knee is here, your hip is above your knee, and then you have your shoulder above your hip. You're creating a triangle basically there. And so that is the setup. As you come up off the ground, you're covering this distance. You want to have the weight at the knee. The back angle is trying to stay pretty much the same on its way up. And then the last step would be to lock the hip out horizontally. I'm going to be finding myself in this position. I use my hip and I open that joint. And that's the end of the movement. There's nothing else that needs to happen on the bar. It will finish at the hip. Now with a clean, a little bit different setup. You don't want your hip that high, and the reason being is the way that you're going to apply force on the bar. You will not be doing a horizontal hip. You want the hip moving vertically. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up with the hip straight across from the knee. Your shoulder is going to be behind the bar. It's not out in front of it like this one. The shoulder's out in front of the bar. On this one, you want it behind the bar. The benefit to this setup is as you come up, you're going to catch yourself when the weight's at the knee. Different than this, when the weight's at the knee, you're finding yourself in a power stance, ready to jump. You want to actually jump off the ground. The way your hip is extending is more vertical. Obviously, it's here. It still needs to get over top. It's moving horizontally, but it's also moving vertically mostly. I want it to pop up off so that that weight is going to come up and catch on my shoulder. So one, you're able to finish because it has nothing else to do. You just open the hip. What happens a lot of times is when people are here, they'll do the last step, which is to be extended, their knee, their hip, and then their shoulder. They have the weight. They're bouncing that weight out in front because they're thinking like this. They take it and they bounce it out in front, and now they have to chase after that weight because they're deadlifting up their clean. And it bounces out in front, and then the bar path is like this up to the shoulder. That's incorrect. You don't want to be doing that. You want the weight to move straight up to the shoulder. Straight path is always better. So that's the idea. Like I said, follow us. We want to give you guys tips Just don't clean up your deadlift. Don't clean it up. Keep it messy. Have these differences or these differentiating points happening within your head. You want that. You want to do the movement that you're doing. And in CrossFit, we're doing powerlifting and we're doing Olympic lifting. They are different. The setups are different. The movement is different. And you need to keep it messy in your brain, but just try to understand, what am I doing in that day? Do it correctly, and you should be moving more efficiently. So again, I would love to hear, have you had these issues? Have you had it where you notice when you clean, it's more like a kettlebell swing popping out in front? And then do these drills and see if you can see, just by setting up properly, if it actually helps fix some of those problems. Let us know. So also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page so that we can give you more content to help you find yourself at the top of the leaderboard next time.